Hey, this is Dizzy Reed from Guns N' Roses, and you're watching GNR Central. Yeah!
Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to GNR Central. And I was on vacation the last week, so I haven't had a chance to do a lot of news videos, but there was some news that sort of broke towards the tail end of this past week, and that involved Axl Rose being pretty vocal on Twitter. So if you guys have been following the news at all, you would have seen that Kanye West met with President Donald Trump in the Oval Office in front of the press, and many criticized West for rambling incoherently during the meeting, though he did address some issues like prison labor, inner-city tensions, and unemployment. However, Guns N' Roses frontman Axl Rose wasn't impressed with Kanye's speech, calling it a joke on Twitter. So both Kanye West and Kid Rock were guests at the White House yesterday for the signing of the Music Modernization Act. And what's funny is nobody even cared that Kid Rock showed up, and it was just all about Kanye West. So for those who don't know, the Music Modernization Act was something that Slash was a big supporter of, as well as former Guns N' Roses producer Mike Klink. So the Music Modernization Act created a system for fair royalty payments to musicians, with artists like Mastodon having visited Congress in the past to lobby for the act, as well as Slash. So the Music Modernization Act passed unanimously in both the House of Representatives and the Senate, ultimately making its way to Trump's desk for him to sign into law. Now, the attention, like I said before, remained mostly on West. However, with various media outlets calling the meeting cartoonish, sad, and a blitzkrieg of blathering ignorance. Now, Axl posted two tweets. The first one he said is, "What a joke, not going to solve anything in Chicago or anywhere else with any of that attention-seeking nonsense." And then Rose also brought up the disappearance of journalist Jamaal Khashoggi, which has been in the news the past week, and it's kind of an interesting story if you guys haven't been following it. Basically, he was a Saudi journalist who was reportedly kidnapped and possibly killed by Saudi Arabia. And he was basically, when he was in Turkey trying to get a visa, he went to the Saudi embassy, and he was never seen after that. So Axl said, "Oh, and don't let any of this distract you from the Khashoggi killings," and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So let's talk a bit about the Music Modernization Act, because this is something I've been following a bit in the news. And if you guys have seen any of the news about how much companies like Spotify, YouTube, as well as some of these other streaming services pay to artists, it's kind of pathetic to say the least. So the Music Modernization Act fights for fair royalty pay, and it's basically split into four main parts. So one of them is ending the bulk notice of intent, or an NOI process, through the Copyright Office, which can prevent songwriters from being compensated or compensated in a timely manner. It also requires the Copyright Royalty Board to consider free market conditions when determining royalty rates. So enacting a wheel approach, so American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers and broadcast music are assigned random judges for rate-setting disputes instead of being assigned the same court judge for all cases. They've also moved the industry to a fair system under which performance rights organizations and songwriters would have the opportunity to present evidence about the other facets of the music ecosystem to judges. So musicians, as we said, have fought for the Music Modernization Act for quite some time, with even Steven Tyler of Aerosmith contributing to a commentary piece on the act earlier this year. He said, "Since 1909, songwriter rates have been dictated by law, not by what's negotiated in the real world of the free market," he said. "Unlike artists and authors who create things, songwriter rates are determined by a court, and that court doesn't even look at all the evidence to decide what songwriters deserve." So the Music Modernization Act improves this by telling the judges to look at what songwriters would make if there were a free market, which would raise what songwriters are paid. And there's a really great video that Steven Tyler did. It was an interview he gave to Joe Rogan, which I've started to listen to more of Joe Rogan stuff. Like, I was watching his Netflix special. It was pretty good from whatever I saw so far. And there's a really interesting interview where he talks about how musicians are being screwed over in this day and age of the industry. So I recommend you guys go check it out if you're interested. And that does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out our podcast that we did after 2 weeks off. And also be sure to check out our news video for this week as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit the like button if you enjoyed that video, and be sure to subscribe if you love GNR as much as I do. And go check us out on GNRCentral.com for the latest and greatest Guns N' Roses news. Take care.